right, what is going on, guys? It's Adam, aka Marf. Today's show is going to be loaded. Russia just did the last step to separate from the U.S. I'll tell you about that and more in just a second. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else on the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. All right, what is going on, guys? My name is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. We got our camera issues fixed. It took a little bit extra long tonight, but again, we're here and we are now live. This is a live show, so anything can happen. Like I said in the notice, of course, you know, we cover news from all over the place, but we make sure to give you the source of it. In fact, if you go to our website, if you're new here, you can follow along. You can grab a tablet or a phone or a second device, and you can actually read along with us. Now, if you go to our website right now, it's very easy to navigate. You go by thumbnail. Today's thumbnail is the big breakup, partners in crime, with Mr. P and Mr. B there. And then when you click on that, you will see that it goes directly to all of the links. Every single article, tweet, video, document that we show you here will be there on the website. Now, when you go down at the very bottom, the callers will be there, whatever callers we may have. We're starting late. I know we have at least one caller, actually a planned caller this time. We're going to have Ilea call in. She's got something cool. Good friend of mine. So, and then we, on the right side, if you want to support us, we are independent. We don't have a multi-channel network. You are our backbone. I again, used to do this from my car. Now it's grown into something where we have multiple people dependent on it. So again, if you want to support us, you can go to the website. All of our affiliates are on the right. Our PayPal and all that kind of stuff is there if you feel so inclined. For those that go above and beyond, thank you, and can't say thank you enough to a lot of you. Thank you so much. Let's bring in Dex. He's my co-host. He'll also be on the phones tonight. I don't know how many callers we'll be able to fit in because we have a lot of news. But again, let's bring him in. My internet brother, Dex.
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine tonight.
So just to remind people, Dex has put the content at the very bottom. This is too hot for TV stuff. It's stuff that's not neutral, that's very, to one side or the other. It's stuff that we can't cover without, trying to be as neutral as possible. And I do believe this show should be as neutral as possible and leave it up to you to kind of put your own pieces together. When I do have an opinion or a theory, I make sure to clarify so. And if I don't, make sure to, holler at me in the comments. Either way, comment down below. For the first hour after the show, I will be reading all of the comments, and I usually try to respond to as many as possible. All right, let's get started. If you can, just press that like button right now. All right, no company is safe from ransomware attacks, White House warns. A series of major ransomware attacks targeting gasoline and meat supplies, as well as the federal government and human rights groups, prompted the White House to push businesses and companies to take cyber attacks more seriously on Thursday. So just by reading that first one, I don't have to tell most people in my audience, you guys already know what I'm going to say. I think everybody needs to prepare for the big ones. This isn't even as big as it can get. If you're new here, we have covered through all of this, and I've warned people that cyber attacks over the next years would actually go way up, and we had no idea how right we were as far as them going up. After SolarWinds, which is the largest hack in history, it hacked all 5 military branches, it hacked the Pentagon, and it hacked almost every company that you've ever put your info in. All 500, top Fortune 500 companies, almost all of them got hacked. Now we're seeing that these ransomware attacks are hitting left and right. So I shouldn't have to tell you to prepare for things like this. We knew. I mean, we've been telling you to have VPN and other cyber protection for 3 years now. Now it's really kicking in. They have hit infrastructure. We're talking about they took out half of the East Coast's gas supply. So it really should be something that's kind of a no-brainer. as far as, protecting yourself. But again, we'll let you know in a way that you can protect yourself, at least from an electromagnetic attack later. As far as cyber, though, be smart. I want to do a series where we can tell you, free things that you can do to try to protect yourself. If you are an expert in this field, email me, or Dex at adam@marfooglenews.com, or dex@marfooglenews.com. If you're a cyber expert, somebody who helps companies do that, let me know, because I'm not an expert, but I would love to have one on and give free tips to people how to protect themselves. All right. And then as far as this goes, the White House is straight up telling us that there are going to be more. And they're warning companies to do this. It says, in a letter addressed to corporate executives and businesses leaders, Ann Neuberger, the top White House cyber advisor, outlined steps and companies should be taking to protect themselves from attacks. It says, quote, all organizations must recognize that no company is safe from being targeted by ransomware, regardless of size and location. So what they're saying is, no matter how protected or big these companies are, and they've got whole wings devoted to cyber protecting and firewalls and all of this, they're basically saying that doesn't matter at this point. They have people, they have experts out there that are trying to hack the biggest companies out there, the biggest banks. And they're far more skilled than any company that they're hiring to protect from. So I don't think this is a ragtag group of guys in Russia. I think that this is governments. This is world governments, and they are fighting each other. That is my theory. That can't be backed up. As far as, yes, they say that some of this is the Russian government, but we don't know for sure. What I do know is that Russia is separating everything from us and trying to be completely undependent on us, or independent from us. And I'll even show you further than that. They're trying to get away from the U.S. dollar. They're getting away from the U.S. dollar. So that once that comes, what do you think that would be a step? I'm going to ask you. If Russia is completely separating their internet, is completely separating their dollars, and completely separating their money, what do you think comes next? And we are at the same time accusing them and blaming them of doing all of these things that are affecting our economy and everything else. Is it one big show? I don't know. But I do know that this isn't the finale, and it's only going to get bigger. So for those of you who don't agree with me, let me know your theory. As long as you're being nice, you can pretty much put anything as long as it is as long as it's PG and family friendly. You can put anything in that context. By the way, we do a good job of trying to make sure that we can be watched by many. Because I think the more people that we reach is going to be far more important in the coming months. All right. Again, just one last part here. She said the most important takeaway from recent cyber attacks from criminal organizations asking for money in return for stolen data and systems is that, quote, companies view ransomware as a threat to their core business operations rather than a simple risk of data theft. Will react and recover more effectively. So saying that they should look at this as a really hardcore risk instead of just, reacting accordingly. The letter said that the best practices to avoid ransomware attacks are multi-factor password authentication, endpoint detection, and response to find and stop malicious activity on a network, data encryption, and having a skilled online security team to respond and bolster defenses from a cyber attack. Now, this next part, the United States is on high alert regarding cyber attacks after Russian hacking groups in the past month shut down one of the country's critical sources of energy, the Colonial Pipeline. Earlier this week, another hack caused JBS, the largest beef producer in the country, to shut down. And that, again, created a huge concern for, of course, food shortage. So they are on high alert, and they're telling us they're on high alert. Now, maybe they're the ones doing it. Maybe a secret group of CIA. If you look back throughout history, right, and if somebody looked at that or what I just said and said, "Oh, that's crazy," you're one of those. I would say look at throughout history at some of the stuff that's happened. Look at what came out in 2012 with Edward, Mr. Snowden there. That was never, I mean, if you said that they were listening in on you, what do you think people would say? They'd say, you're a little bit loopy. Or they might say, oh yeah, they might be listening a little bit, but they didn't know that they were listening to every single phone in the world, including foreign, prime ministers and kings and princes, and able to access their cameras and basically able to see the entire planet through this because of how the internet and how everything was set up. They didn't know that they could archive basically everyone's activity, private stuff, everything. They said it was a crime against the world. When Snowden came out against that, whether you think he's a hero or an enemy of the state, either way, it was a huge, huge thing to come out. And no one would have thought that that was even possible. At that point, they said, this is unbelievable what they were doing. So looking at that, looking at this right now, who knows who did it? But what I do know is that as a civilian, looking at what the military and what government are doing, they are preparing for something massive. So why are we not? I think that we should just get our ducks in a line, make sure to prepare for any disaster, whether that be an earthquake, a tornado, a storm, anything. Prepare to have no power. That is something that will happen, and nobody expects it to happen. Nobody thinks that major systems are going to fail, but they always do. Thank you, Clever Ever. Thank you so much for subscribing. By the way, Adam Epstein just subscribed. Don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Daughter of the Most High, what is going on? Thank you from Canada. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate your support. And you can always write a message there if you'd like. Jason Valles says, thanks, Dex. And then Marie Wood, thank you for subscribing. As always, if you subscribe during the show, you will get a shout out. Desiree Negron, 5 minutes ago, says, you guys are showing them how it is done. Thank you for all you do. Desiree, I have not met you yet, so thank you so much for your support. And then Scoodle 2.0, thank you for subscribing 10 minutes ago. And then Liz Gaspari says, Adam and Dex, I am here on time. Can I get a woo-hoo? You get a woo-hoo. Everybody gets a woo-hoo. Check under your seats. You have a woo-hoo. James Boss, Ann Ferrara, and Watchful and Alert, thank you for your super chat before the show, it looks like. Domain Z and Jose Velasco, thank you so much for being the last one out yesterday. All right. As far as the cyber, I shouldn't have to tell you anything more. Everybody needs to get ready for anything. New York subway system was targeted by Chinese-linked hackers in April. Now, again, this is official news. We have backed all of this up on marfooglenews.com. We have given you the source for this. It's The Hill. So you can argue if this is authoritative. Again, this is one of the authoritative sources. So this is considered a fact right now. What I don't understand is why they're not connecting more to that same country. We are connecting it all to to the other ones, but what they have shown the public hasn't proved as much. Dex, do you have a thought about this? Again, I thought we covered this, but we didn't know it was a hack. Did it just come out that it was a hack, or do we know about that, or? And it looks like Dex is actually.
Hey, Adam, is this about the subways?
Yeah. So
in New York, yeah. So
didn't we cover this?
Yeah, and I think what's coming out is how specifically they were targeted, but they were targeted in April. Specifically, it was using a different type of thing. This wasn't necessarily the ransomware stuff we had seen with all the other infrastructure. But the point is, they are obviously going after, these major different points, breaking points for us that are very painful, whether it's, a pipeline or meat packing, or in this case, if you could, the subway system, that would completely cripple, the city like New York. So, and in this one's even different too, because they pin the finger on China on this one and not Russia, which is a little odd.
And it's almost like they're pointing at they're pricking little spots in our system and trying to figure out where everything is. We covered last year in Louisiana, Florida, and some other states. We saw hacks that were going into very specific systems, and they saw that they were hacking into HR. human resources, the kind of departments for state and government offices that were able to make security clearances, to be able to make employee passes, to be able to make badges. Back then they didn't say anything, but about a month later they actually did. We said it on the spot that the kind of systems that were hacked, we said that we thought this is exactly what they would do to make clearances for somebody, say a spy or somebody that they're sending in. And that's exactly what was going on. They were going into direct HR and able to make passes, able to make security badges to get through choke points in our security, in our infrastructure. And again, it's like nobody's talking about that. When you do that, even if you're in sewage or in maintenance or something, just a line worker or something on power lines, say if you go up to a military installment with official clearance and you have government state clearance that, hey, I'm here to check out the power, they check and they're able to check the system and go, okay, you're good, go on through. You can get pretty much anywhere. Heck, as a janitor, you could probably get pretty much anywhere with the right clearance as a janitor, because everywhere has a janitor. So with this is a big thing. That is infrastructure of New York. That is part of their main transportation system. If you live in New York, you've probably taken the subway. Well, it was hacked. Not only that, we covered when the water was hacked in a town where they turned up a chemical that's already in the water and is fine if it's at low doses, but they cranked it up so high that it was to dangerous levels, to deadly levels, and luckily somebody physically saw it going up and they physically turned it back down. But they remotely turned up that chemical, and they could have, this was a town water supply that was getting messed with. So think about that. To be honest, since that, I haven't even been using tap water for my coffee. I used to use tap water for, Keurig or whatever, and everybody goes, "Oh, I can't believe you did." If you get lazy, you use the tap water, right? I don't. I have not been using tap water since. Like, I already knew about tap water and how bad it is, but again, there's those times that you use them, so don't give me crap. And then we have US B-52 boomers fly over NATO countries in message to Russia. Again, lots happening all right now. M. Menching says, I made 13 months. Hey, M. Menching, thank you so much. Referencing that you have a 13-month badge over on DLive. Thank you, and thank you. I can't say thank you enough for you and everybody else that has made it here almost every show. For you, it's been since I've been on DLive, so thank you. Corp, thank you so much for the diamond. Says, Saddam tried to change the oil price to gold, and yeah, exactly. WMD. It's me, Gone Girl Incognito, says Pamela. Thank you so much. Pamela, I don't know what happened to your other account, but I'm glad you're here, and thank you for representing. And Corp says, poking our soft spots. Exactly. That is a really good way to put it. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if they're trying to figure out our system or what, but it's pretty obvious something is going on. The Truth Is Out Here is in the house. Thank you so much for popping over in DLive. We got Vido 925, Linda K, Bear Claws. We have Poca Loco here. We have Hopkinson, Cindy, Dova Ghoul. We have Gene W. We have Omua, yeah. I think I said that right. Omua, yeah. Carolina Roots, Priscilla R, Bear Lover. Let's see here. We've got Ape Go Hard. That's an interesting one. And let's see here. Dako. Thank you so much for joining tonight. All right. And as far as this goes, in late May, Russia's defense minister Sergei Shoigu warned in the NATO military that threat near the country's border is growing as the alliance is increasing the intensity of its strategic aviation flights, the presence of warships and cruise missiles, and the number of military exercises. America's strategic B-52 boomers recently did a mission over 30 NATO and allied nations in North America and Europe. And of course, they said that was to send a message to Russia. Monday's flyover was part of NATO's Operation Allied Sky, which that in itself is like, okay, which involved almost 100 aircraft from 22 NATO member states taking part in massive drills. So why is nobody talking about this? Can you imagine being in a town and seeing 100 military jets flying over you? You would think that it was an invasion. When I see 6 or 7, that's a big thing. When you see 100 humongous planes and boomers flying over you, that is flippin' terrifying. It says,
that's exactly what Russia says, right? Because they come in and they say, hey, you can accidentally start something because you're doing this right against our border.
Exactly. And again, they're going to keep doing these kind of things. They actually, one of the officials said that we're not going to stop no matter what. And it's like, hello? It says CNN cited B-52 pilot Todd Berglund as saying that during the drills, they were refueling their warplane conducting a NATO op in NATO airspace. It says, quote, we pretty much just try to make sure that we're enabling their alliance mission and what they can do whatever they need to do, Berglund said. He spoke after General Jeff Harrington, commander of NATO Allied Air Command, described bomber missions as something that demonstrate, quote, the credibility of our NATO forces to address a global security environment that is more diverse and uncertain than any other time in our history. So this is a commander of NATO saying that right now it is more uncertain than any other time in history. We've also had quotes from people that are in charge of entire armies basically saying that right now, more than any other time in history, we are more likely to go to a conflict than any other time. So I guess we're all crazy, right? We're all crazy thinking that that something's going to happen. And I'm not, people say fear-mongering, war-mongering, where I'm not afraid. In fact, I feel better now with all of the supplies and things that we've done to try to get prepared. That's what I'm pushing people to do is like spend $5 or $10 a week if you have to, or $5 a month if you have to, and get extra stuff. Because guess what? Once you do, there will be no fear. You're not fearing once you're prepared. It's just like if you practice for something 1,000, 1,000,000 times, if somebody calls you up to do it, you're ready. It says the remarks followed statements made late last month, by Russia's Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu, stating in response to actions taken by NATO nations led by the U.S. that the Russian Defense Ministry will create around 20 new formations and military units in the Western Military District by the end of the year. So we covered that. They're basically saying that all of this is going on around us. They even said at that same point that they believe that they are that the U.S. is creating bio weapons, and that they even have labs on their border. So we don't know who to believe as civilians. All I would have to say is that we need to be prepared for anything. And again, like I said, if you're prepared for something, then you're ready to take it head on. And if it happens, you're ready and waiting for it. Here's the thing. If you are hit in the side of the head by anything, it's a sucker punch, period. Don't be sucker punched. If you're not sucker punched, you have a chance in a fight. If somebody comes up from behind you with a bat and hits you in the side of the head, do you think you're going to win that fight? Most likely not. But if you see that punch coming from a million miles away, and they move their shoulder back, and they go like this, and they wind up and they do a windmill, then you got it. You're good. You know they're going to throw a punch. So you're going to know how to dodge. This is the point of all of pretty much everyone that I talk to, everybody in our circle. All of our mods are going to tell you the same thing. The actions of our Western colleagues destroy the global security systems and force us to take adequate countermeasures. We're constantly upgrading the combat composition of our troops, Shoigu said, referring to NATO's growing military threat near Russia's borders. Now, when we read these words out loud, it's not as much as hearing it from actual people on the border. And we've heard from several emails saying that they cannot believe how many military members are there, how many troops are actually there. We saw, of course, with Ukraine, they had upwards of 160,000 troops. 3 football fields full, all with military members right in one area there. And, of course, countless vehicles are still parked there. They never moved the vehicles back. They took the troops back, but they left all of the artillery. They left all of the tanks. They left all of the vehicles, which are still visible by satellite. So it's almost like they use, and then they last second said, oh, it was just an exercise, right? Okay. Dex, so again, it sounds like we have Ilea. Do we have Ilea on the phone yet? And if we do, let me know.
Yes, I got the calls lined up.
All right, and then before we take the first call, if you can, make sure to check this out. If you don't go through us, then figure out something. But again, EMP Shield is a way to actually protect yourself. This is what I mentioned earlier. If you're new here, I think that everybody should be looking at this. If for some reason we had a natural solar flare that hit and knocked out our grid or knocked out our devices, or if we had an adversary send over an EMP, this is how militaries, this is how governments, this is the same company that has actually been contracted with DHS, DOD, and now the DEMSO team helping protect the Texas grid. You can actually get the consumer version of these for yourself, for your car, for your house, for your solar system, for your ham radio. People don't think about that. For your generator at marfooglenews.com/EMP. And when you use this link, you will actually get $50 off per device, and it will combine with whatever sale they're running at that time. It's 100% American made. It's tested by Keystone, military tested, and it's a veteran-owned business. Not only that, it can protect you against lightning as well. If you're in the Midwest and have a ton of it and fry everything all the time, this would be a good thing. It grounds the signal before it can fry your device, and in the end, I believe will either save lives or possibly save lives if we have this actually happen. Either way, we will have another CME like the Carrington event. It's just a matter of when, not if. All right, Dex, let's get the next caller on. It looks like we have Ilea. Again, wanted to call in yesterday, so we told her that we would get her in today. Ilea's a good friend and awesome OG Foogle. Ilea, you're live on Marfoogle News.
Hi, Adam. How are you?
Good. How are you? We were just...
I'm good.
I by the way, I told Dex before the show, and no offense to Adam, but there was Adam Epstein that subscribed right before the show. And I was like, okay, that's...
I heard that.
Especially like we were talking about Mr. EpiPen there last night. And
last night, yeah,
our thoughts on it. Yeah, so what's going on?
I was calling to promote a friend of mine who is running for California State Senate in District 2. And I was calling in hopes that we can send him a love mob, especially from our California Google fam.
Okay. All right. Let's see.
His name is Gene Yoon. He's super awesome. He's running as a Republic elephant. But I really feel like demo donkeys would really vibe with him too. I mean, I strongly believe that because I think that he has the potential to bridge the gap between these two parties. He's just super humble, super down to earth.
Well, by the way,
studied politics at Princeton,
and this is
studied law at NYU. Sorry.
This is coming from you. This is, and you actually have things on both sides, right? And
yeah,
some of your views
super
are
lib, but
yes, exactly.
I can tell when, yeah.
So coming from you, that's a lot.
Something wrong, and yeah. Sorry, I feel like I'm talking over you.
That's okay. That's okay. There probably is a little delay here.
Yeah, slight.
So I do genuinely. By the way, so Ilea, you've been part of the Foogle fam since I started. You've been in the. Everybody knows Ilea. She's in the chat every night. Again, she is super to the left, and she is supporting this person on the right. That says a lot to me. And by the way, you are very open-minded. There's been things on the show you've disagreed with, but you've stayed here the whole time. There's things that you've directly disagreed with me on, but you did what pretty much I think is amazing, and everybody should be doing. You're doing what people did 10, 15 years ago, where you disagreed on something and then you just got past it and you kept talking and you weren't triggered. You didn't shut people down and you didn't just stop and see everything like that. We shouldn't be in two parties. We shouldn't be boxed into any kind of political. If you believe something, you don't believe something, it should be independent. Every person should be themselves, not I'm this or I'm that. That's my thought anyways, and I know it's kind of yours as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, and that's why I feel so strongly about Gene's message, because he's very, very down to earth, and he believes that the future of our country depends on getting new leadership, and he believes wholeheartedly that in being the change that you want to see in the world, and that's why he has decided to run for state senate. And he also told me that he doesn't think parties are important. He believes that people are important, and that just like completely resonated with me. And it sucks because our modern media, it has created this false division. When the vast majority of us just we agree on the same goals, and that's what his campaign's about. He wants to focus on our common goals, and he wants to focus on the best ways to achieve them. And it all just, I don't know. I like him.
Well, I also think
for Gene.
I also think that it's important that we listen to our audience as well. You're part of the audience in California. If you are in California, even if you haven't heard of this, at least go look him up. I don't know him, and I don't know his stuff, so make sure to go do your research. But I do believe that if Ilea, as somebody who is lib, and saying that this man is a good man, and knowing your character as a person and your morals and values, I think that I would be safe to say that this is most likely a good choice. But I also like to say it's really cool to see an underdog or somebody who's not a 30-year government veteran get into office and actually get in there and shake things up. So again, I hope everybody goes over there and at least checks out the YouTube channel. Thank you for using your time to help somebody else. That I always appreciate that as well. Is there anything else you want to say, Ilea, while you're on the phone? Because you can say pretty much anything, and I know you know all of the filter words and everything. I
actually didn't know that the demo rats was the filter word, and the elephants.
Oh, I know.
I was like, I have to say elephants. Okay.
Oh, it's crazy. Anything.
So I'm glad that.
Yes.
I'm just glad that Dex sent me that link so I can see. I was like, I'm not going to say those words then.
Well, now you have the inside.
But yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Well, Ilea, don't be a stranger. You can call in anytime. You know that. And thank you so much for calling in, okay?
I'll call back. I got an alien story, so I'll call back some other time.
All right. Well, how about we get you in later this week? Because now, why don't you just tell your story? Because otherwise people will go, well, you should have just let her talk and tell her story.
No, they don't want to hear it right now. I'm not prepared. My kids are like looking at me through the window.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll get you back on.
I
Ilea,
promise I'll call back.
Thank you. And make sure to check out Ilea on all platforms. She's actually really funny too. Thank you, and go out and check out Gene Yoon. I will make sure to check him out as well. I really do. I think that people should get up and just start changing their ways and start doing stuff. In fact, the little goofy song I just made. Anyways, you get the point. But no one else is going to do it for you. That's the point. And I think that we all need to start, getting into office, going out and changing the world. And you shouldn't have to say I'm this or I'm that. You should just say, hey, I believe we should do this. Speaking of doing this, Russia cuts dollar holdings from $119 billion wealth fund amid sanctions. Russia will eliminate the dollar from its national well-being fund, shifting to euros, yuan, and gold. So just to get this clear, they are stepping away from the dollar and trying to cut all independence on the U.S. dollar. It says Finance Minister Anton Sulanov said that they were cutting this out, and it says the transfer, which affects to be about $119 billion in liquid assets, will take place within the central bank's huge reserves. As a result, its market impact, if there is one, could be hard to trace. The Bank of Russia has steadily reduced holdings of the dollars in the last several years as sanction pressures from the U.S. and European Union have grown. It says, quote, "We can make this change rather quickly within a month," Silanov told reporters in St. Petersburg. Somebody's going to clip that. Okay. Petersburg International Economic Forum. The dollar pared gains. Sorry, like 12 years old. The dollar pared gains and the ruble hit the day's highs on the news Thursday. The central bank can make changes to the well-being fund without resorting to market operations, said Sofia Donuts. Wait, I'm sorry. The name is Sofia Donuts? Economist at Renaissance Capital in Moscow. I guess that name would be more seriously taken in a different language. Anyways, okay. So, you know, as we've been saying, it's like we have told you last year and the year before, China and Russia are both trying to work together to cut the U.S. out of all of their financials, including all of their dependencies, including, of course, rice and all these things that we actually export there. They are now working together on farmland to actually go outside the U.S. and to cut us out of the middle. They want to be number 1 and 1, and they don't want us anywhere near that number. Dex, do you have anything to say about this as far as cutting the dependence away from U.S.?
Well, yeah, the thing is, the only thing that's going to really hurt Russia is when they go to do a transaction with another country, whether it's for oil or natural gas or whatever, or whatever product they're transferring, they have to now pay transaction fees, right? Because if the country they're dealing with only deals in dollars or wants to deal in dollars, and they don't have it, they're going to have to then use euros or yuan or something else, and then pay a transaction fee to transfer to dollars. So it's going to cost them. But yeah, it's a big signal. It's a really big signal saying, hey, we're dropping our dependency on the dollar.
So I don't know how many signs people really need, but this is just yet another one. And this doesn't necessarily mean conflict, but it does mean they're stepping towards that direction and or just separating completely. I think that we should be paying attention to the money. Like I've said over the last week, you know, people think that everybody is connected. Putin G and Mr. B and all of them are secretly all buddies having drinks, and they might be. And that this is all put on for show and it will never get to that point. Well, if you look in history, a lot of people actually think that WW2 was done with the leaders all in cahoots. There were a lot of people that actually had some pretty crazy evidence to say that they were actually part of these groups and part of these families and things like that. My point is that even if that was the case, that they would do WW3, that they would do the biggest show on earth, that they could cut population from 8 billion to 2 billion in one foul swoop, because they're not going to be taken out. They're going to be in their super subs. They're going to be on their super yachts. They're going to be in their bunkers somewhere with a full staff of people sitting back and having somebody with banana leaves fanning them. So just keep that in mind. These people are all set. They're above rich. I mean, we're not talking about rich and wealthy. We're talking about the true elites, the people that don't have to lift a finger to do a single thing. These people have so much power. They're not just only rich in money, they're rich in power. They can do anything they want. They are above the law, and you have to recognize that there are people, human beings, that are above law, and it comes along with the money. The richer you get, the more above the law you do get, and people can say that it's not that way, but it is. Let's see here. We've got Zach Bell. Thank you for subscribing. Paul, thank you for subscribing. Sir Budrick, thank you so much. Check your comments on Marfoogle Jam. Timing is everything. A director named Rene Garcia wants to buy/license your jam. FYI, shout out to Zippy Moons. Wow, that's random. Sir Budrick, thank you so much. And again, I will check that out. Thank you for seeing that. I didn't see it. Foogle fam, let's put together a private barter system for group members only. I've done this before, and it worked very, very well. By the way, Renee, if you're watching, thank you for, I guess that's a compliment in some way. Zach Bell, thank you so much. Janice Wolf, love all your hard work. Love you. Johnny Doom Wifey says, we love you all, and don't forget that through this all, God's got this, and he loves us. Well, thank you, Johnny Doom Wifey, and I hope you're doing well. Sam Thoughts, thank you for subscribing. As always, if you subscribe during the show, you will get a shout-out. And then Conquest Josh, it's nice to see you here tonight. It says, so much love, Foogle family. God bless you all. Thanks for all you do, Marf, Dex, and mods. Thank you for shouting out the mods. Anna Trejos, thank you for the $50 super chat. Thank you so much. That is a huge donation. Thank you so much. Adam and Dex, woohoo, for being our information and truth news of what's coming our way. And sorry, if I gave them a woohoo, I got to give you a woohoo. MG Toe forever. I'm not around much anymore, but I love y'all. MG Toe, don't worry, you're OG too. You were one of my first subscribers, or at least in that first 1,000, I think. Bob Do, thank you for subscribing. Keith Henry, desalination and shelters, none for us. Another point, too, is that the U.S. doesn't have desalination and many of the things that would keep us going in the future. In the future, we're looking at, they say that we're running out of, that in 100 years we'll have to have desalination plants. Dustin Jensen, Frank B., Matt Parker, thank you so much for joining us, joining the Foogle fam. Drug cartel attacks enemies and spread terror with weaponized drones in the U.S. in Mexico. It says it began as a routine operation. Mexican police were clearing blockades placed by organized crime groups in El Guajale, a western Mexico town that has become a battleground for cartels. Suddenly, authorities said a drone flew over, dropping a gunpowder boom and wounding 2 members of the Mohocan, I think that's Mecohocan State Police Force in the arms and legs. So, Dex, this is exactly what we said was going to happen. I mean, everybody could see that happening. You've got consumer drones almost everywhere. You've got the ability to build drones without any kind of proprietary software that can lift things. We saw it with the attempted assassination of certain presidents. You know, we knew that this was going to start happening. Now, though, I mean, think about what they were doing before. Dex, do you remember when we were covering that they were straight up lighting things on fire and putting it on a kite in Is and I? Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Now, do they need to do stuff like that? Like, that's, pretty, I guess, primitive. But with these, they can be 100, 200 yards away. Them, not even
miles
invisible.
Away.
Yeah, that's true. Up to 10 miles away with just a consumer drone, something that you can get from Best Buy and have something attached. And those things can lift. Even just the Mavic 2 that I have, the Pro, that can lift, a gallon of milk. That's scary. So we'll be covering this. It says the bloody and powerful Jalisco New Generation Cartel, or CJNG, and its rival Carteles Unidos have upgraded their arsenals using drones to boom enemies, posing a growing threat to Mexican and U.S. citizens and allowing more drugs to flow into the USA. So they can take bricks of stuff and fly it over the border. We're going to see more and more and more. Janice Wolf, thank you. Rusty Hall, thank you for your support tonight. I appreciate that. You can always write a message. Beth Roning, thank you for subscribing. Microwave weapons that could cause Havana syndrome exist, experts say. Well, I don't even know why this is almost not necessary. So check this out, though. It says that portable microwave weapons capable of causing the mysterious spat of Havana syndrome brain injuries in U.S. diplomats and spies have been developed by several countries in recent years, according to the leading American experts in the field. I just want to reference back to a video that I did last year about the Walmart. I did a drone shot of the microwave place, this place that does microwave parts for the government, and that they were directly using the Walmart parking lot and accessing all of their containers. And of course, the employees even were like, yeah, no, there's half of them that are only available to those people, and it was on the Walmart side. We, of course, know that Walmart has contracts with the government. In emergency, FEMA and Walmart have worked together. They, of course, use each other. But that company specifically, at first people were like, oh, well, it's just a company doing microwave parts. But they also did parts for missiles. They also did parts for everything else. I'm trying to remember what the name of it was. But again, I would highly recommend going back to that episode. You can go to marfooglenews.com, and in our search bar, since we archived all that, you can go in there and look at it. But that company, instantly, the second I got my drone up, they came out with security guards, everything. They did not want me looking over that fence. And all they say they're doing is microwave parts. All of this is starting to come together. The energy and direct and all of that. A U.S. company also made the prototype of such a weapon for Marine Corps in 2004. So these have been around. The weapon codename Medusa, that is creepy, was intended to be small enough to fit in a car and cause temporarily incapacitating effect, but with a low probability of fatality or permanent injury, which now, as we know, these diplomats have had problems ever since. This is something you can't see and you don't even know is happening, and you're getting buzzing in your ears. Who's to say that's not why almost, 65% of our audience said that they have buzzing in their ears? That's scary. Out of 10,000 votes? That's pretty nuts. Who knows if these aren't being deployed right now? All right, Dex. Going back over, it looks like we have Ozark Mountain on the phone talking about a shortage is coming. And intel from trucking company on logistics. Ozark Mountain, you're now live on Marfoogle News, calling from Missouri. What's going on?
Adam. Not a lot. How you guys doing?
Doing good. So do you have some stuff that I guess it's some stuff that you have information on because of what you do?
Yeah. I work for a distribution company, and our president just told me tonight that a lot of our customers are ordering double to triple what they normally do to stockpile product because he's been told the reason why they're doing that is because they are scared that they won't end up having the product later on this summer. Between employee shortages and everything like that, it's been hectic, crazy for the last 3 months at my job. Stuff getting out late, loads late, bunch of product not being shipped to us. So he says a lot of the reason why we have the volume that we have is because everybody's ordering a crap load more to stockpile on it.
Now, you say you are a trucker. Have you noticed just in your field a lot more stuff going out or less stuff going out?
Yes, absolutely. Noticed a lot more product has been shipping than normal. We can't keep up at all with the amount of product that is being ordered through us.
So I actually pulled up just a kind of a reference piece, and it says massive U.S. food shortage coming. Get a backup supply right now. But this is, of course, by Patriot Rising, obviously Patriot Supply and stuff. I bet companies like that are doing extremely well selling their food supplies and things like this. As far as the trucking, what do you think would happen if power went out? Do you think that the trucks would still roll out and bring food to people?
No, because in my trucking company that I work at, we're 100% automated. So if electricity goes down, we have backup generators, but we don't know if they will actually run. They might run for a couple days, but after that, it's done.
That's a scary thought. And by automated, do you mean like the stuff that goes on your truck, or do you still have somebody put it on with a forklift, or what do you mean by automated?
Automated as in we have robots that pick all of our product for our customers. And if we don't have any electricity, then obviously that robot can't do their job, and there's no way to do it manually to get it on the trucks after that happens.
Now, can I ask, do you still have a forklift driver that brings that from the robots to your truck?
No, it comes down conveyors. The only time we usually use forklifts is taking it off the shippers, which the other truck companies bring us product, and then we go put it on a conveyor belt, and then the robot takes care of it after that.
Okay, so you've kind of proved my point here. Over the last 2 years, I've talked about how robots are replacing humans, and people laugh about that. But have you watched? I don't know if you've watched my show long enough to know that we've actually covered every kind of story that brings in a new job that's being replaced. From even if you go to Safeway, right? Safeway or QFC or any grocery store, you're most likely now going to see, instead of a man shining those beautiful grocery store floors, you're going to see a robot without a person on it. It has a seat for a human employee, but they're actually all robotic and AI driven, and they are just like your robotic vacuum, and they polish the grocery store floor. That's a job and a career that is not going to exist very soon. In fact, let me ask you this. As a truck driver, you might have heard, but they're trying to replace truck drivers, and people go, oh, they'll never do that. I guarantee they can try with a robotic truck that would be self-driving and drive in line with 10 other trucks with an inch between them, and even go further, faster, and for less money, because they're using this kind of technique where you probably know it. If you drive right behind a truck, can you save gas by kind of getting in their wind tunnel?
No. No, it just actually causes more issues. Unless I was literally on his bumper and I was pushing him, he could save gas, or diesel. But it
what would
do
happen
for me? It actually.
Well, yeah, and you guys have air brakes, and it's scary if you had to brake. But what would happen if you had a robotic driver and 10 trucks that are all on the same kind of, or 20 trucks? They're talking about a train of trucks that goes across the country without a driver on it, and they're all connected, and they're able to separate when they need to, but they get together and they can go on a freeway 60, 70 miles an hour all together, and they wouldn't have to pay overtime. They could go 20 hours straight. They could ship faster. These are all pros for the people that are, shipping. Are you at all worried about the truck driving in the next 20 years, or will you be retired by then?
I think we're all worried about a little bit of all of that. I mean, we've already seen what's happened in the last year or so. I mean, nothing would surprise me if it actually did happen. Just another one, hey, I told you so type of deal. At this point, I don't know what to think. Wouldn't surprise me, though. And to go back to your reference earlier about robots, to give you an idea, most of our other DCs that we have across the country, they employ around 600 employees per division, and our division employs 200 people less because of that robot. that we have in our DC.
That is, that's really, I mean, how many people do you think those robots replaced? Do you think that they used humans before robots, obviously?
Yeah. I missed the first part. You broke up.
Oh, well, they probably used to use humans for that. Now they use robots. How many people do you think that replaced?
Just in my industry, just in my division, like I said, 200 people. The robots replaced 200 people just in my division alone.
So that makes
that's 200.
Well, that makes the owner of the company richer. He gets to pay less for all of that, but 200 families then do not have an income or have to go to some other career or some other, who knows, the same people that might work in the warehouse for $17 an hour, livable wage might, or at least somewhat livable, may be able to save up and get a house if they really work hard in overtime. Then they end up going to a job like, McDonald's or Wendy's or something and barely making it by. And, it's just like every job that you can think of is now being threatened by robots and AI. Pilots, commercial pilots, that's another job that, that's a career. You as a trucker is a good and respectable career. That is something that you can live the American dream if you do it right. Do you not agree?
I try to tell. No, I agree 100%. I tell a lot of my friends, acquaintances and stuff like, hey, you want to make a good livable wage, go get your CDL, get on the road and drive. You don't have to be a over-the-road driver. You can be a regional or a local driver and still make a really good living doing that. And I get to see all kinds of different stuff while I'm out here. It's like I was talking to Dex. I'm in the Midwest, and there's a lot of farmlands that I usually see that have crops planted, and a lot of those farmlands that I drive to don't have any crops on them right now because they're too wet, too muddy for them to do anything with. We've had basically a constant for the last 2 months of rain. Nothing hard, nothing crazy, but just consistent. And my lakes that are around me they're flooding out roads. I have 3 different directions I can go to get to my house, and right now I only have one because the other 2 are underneath water right now, which is pretty frustrating. I deliver in the area. I also noticed that E85 gasoline is $3.09 because the bushel of corn is up. Inflation is big right now. That's happening, and I see it all over the place from the product that I delivered to the areas I go to. Just see it, and my main purpose behind this is to help everybody understand like how serious prepping is. Yeah, we all talk about it. Dex talks about it. Adam talks about it. We have all the prepper nurses and prepper guys, Alaskan prepper, all those guys calling in saying, "Hey, prep up, prep up, prep up." And that's my opinion, our only lifeline here before too long is the ones that prepped. And yeah, I live out in the country. I do have a garden. I do live next to lakes. I do have water filtration systems. I do have plenty of food to last my family roughly a year and a half. And a lot of that is, listen to what some of the 3-letter agencies have come out and said. You talk about it all the time, Adam, saying, hey, you guys need at least 6 months to a year worth of food. And back in November, I ordered 5 pallets of food from a local grocery store, and me and 11 other people went in on it, and we split it up between everybody. And a lot of those guys are still sitting on food. Some of them already ate it because they don't want to take me seriously. I'm still sitting on all my food. And it was cheap. It was inexpensive. I'm not a big fan of the long life stuff. I'd much rather have food that tastes edible. That's just my opinion.
Well, and if you do it right, you can do it like that, and you can eat some of it and have it to where it's not 25-year shelf life. I saw a prepper that said that's crazy. Have a shelf life that's 1, 2, 3 years, and then keep replacing it. And if it gets close, you eat it. But you always keep. It's kind of like filling your gas tank. That like if you instead of getting empty and putting $5 in it, have it full, and once it goes down a little bit, put $5 and fill it. It actually works better that way. Well, we're out of time, but I want to thank you for calling in, Ozark, and I highly recommend that whatever it takes. It doesn't sound like you're financially hurting to the point where you need to eat that food instead of keep it. Keep it. Those 11 other people or 10 other people, they're going to regret that. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, thank you,
I appreciate
Ozark.
everything you guys do and helping us all prepare, get ready, and I hope a lot more people will do that, so I don't have to feed them. That's for my family. I mean, I'll help people out when I need to, but hopefully other people will get on board and start doing their own thing.
But just one more time to get it into people's heads, there was someone at work that basically said that they expected huge shortages, and that's why everybody's ordering.
Yes. No. Big shortages.
Do you believe him?
And that's food. Yeah, I believe them. I just look at everything going on. That's why I shared the stuff that I did about our crops and everything else, just the inflation and everything else that the big people, higher ups, are trying to take from us right now.
Well, thank you so much, Ozark Mountain. You have a wonderful night. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out.
Thanks, you too.
All right. Well, and I mean, I think it's really good that he did that. And I love what he said about that. Okay, he went in with 10 other people or 11 other people, and they were able to get it to where they got it bulk, where it was it was inexpensive. We should start to look at this. In fact, I don't know. I wonder if we could do this in the right way, where we're not too putting our necks out there, but we're starting this community. We're getting this community thing together. If we could, maybe people that are interested. The scary thing is, though, with strangers, if you don't have neighbors that you can do this with, putting your money out there and then somebody collects it or something and says, "Oh, I'm going to get food," and they don't. Be careful. Whatever you do, always think it out. Make sure you have proof that you were going to get it, or wait until you have it to pay for it. If it's something like that, if you're all pooling together, you need to know those people. Priscilla R., when can you look at bunker fuel and how dirty it is? Bunker fuel. I will look at it, Priscilla R. I'll do it right away. Pearl says 7 months. Thank you for being a badge member for 7 months. Chewy Weather, thank you for being here. M. Menching says I made 13 months. Again, thank you. Pamela, thank you. Jay Scorpio says something will happen because of all of the truth that's coming out. I think lights out. Stay safe, all. I'm preparing for anything and everything. Bear Claws, Paul Sami, David 753, thank you for following over on DLive. Zippy Moons pops in late to the party. We had softball tonight, trying to talk my bro into calling into talk about booms. Oh, that's awesome, Zippy Moons. If not, we'll get them on some point. WS Jan, thank you so much for being here. Zippy Moons, thanks for gifting out a bunch of Marfia badges to different Foogle fam. Conquest Josh says, sending love on both platforms. God bless Marf, Dex, and Moz. Thank you. Pamela for 5959, a.k.a. Gone Girl, says, praying. Thank you so much for the emoji and the support. Let's see here. Pam, thanks. I appreciate that. Zippy Moons. Edgy Whalen, Cheryl from Dayton, Bug Out 45. We've got Sleepy Pam. That's awesome. I'm also a trucker. Can't keep up with freight, says Meat Puppet 07. 007 says can't keep up with freight. I am seeing 3,000% increase in distribution also, says Zippy Moons. So we have multiple truckers. In fact, if you don't know the history, if you're new here, we actually had, as part of our 1-800 or 224-400 MARF number, we had on our phone tree I think it's, Dex, do you remember, is it number 3? Do we still have that? It was a option for truckers to tell us what they're seeing in the country. Because basically what happens is these truckers, they know what is going on. They're driving across the country. They are actually physically seeing what is happening in our country. They're seeing military movements. They're seeing blockades. It's something that, local news, unless the news covers it, you don't know if it's happening outside of where you are. But these truckers, they're traveling. We had truckers tell us before the news covered it that they were not letting people in and out of Indianapolis during CV, the beginning where they were actually closing down state lines. That's scary. Saying, hey, papers, please. Do you live here? Okay, get out of here. That's scary, people. So again, we have so many truckers that ended up tuning in and saying, "Oh, these guys respect truckers." So we got a lot of them in here, like as well with military. So great, crazy stuff going on. Again, every trucker is saying the same thing. Ask. You will hear. Lavera Lucchini, Miss Jammer, Sandra in Texas, Mindy's mom, Jafarm 2, thank you, Griffle, Divine 1122 on B, Old Chunk of Coal. Pamela says, Mike Morales, Above Ground World News, bunker fuel operation ships. I will check it out. I will make sure to go over there. Mike Morales is great. All right, and then UFOs are not coming from space, but from beneath the sea, as craft spotted buzzing U.S. Navy, claims top alien hunting ex-cop. Okay. I've heard this before. This is not a strange theory. In fact, think about it. We know less about the sea than we do about space, or supposedly space, right? Dex, what do you think about this as far as UFOs not coming from space, but rather from beneath the sea? What do you think about that?
Well, one of the videos that was, I guess, leaked or made public from one of the events showed this UFO just diving into the water, or this UAP as they called it, basically disappearing into the water. So I guess there's some potential, evidence there that there maybe is something going on underneath the water.
Well, and if you think about predictive programming or anything like that, forever sci-fi has thought of the idea of, like, say, Middle Earth, or the Land of the Lost, or even Atlantis or Atlanteans, having these kind of species living under the sea. There's a part in here that I think is really kind of shocking for people to find out. It says, quote, "That sounds crazy, but if you think about it, we only know 5% of the ocean. We know more about the surface of the moon or Mars than our own oceans. So that would seem to me why UFOs are seen regularly coming in and out of water." Again, it says, quote, "UFOs are often seen coming in and out of water, so suspect that in our deepest oceans and trenches, we may well have alien bases." What was the movie, that movie back in the 80s? Or maybe it was
Abyss.
Abyss. One of my favorite movies ever. Showed, I don't want to spoil it. I think it's very unlikely that somebody's going to go watch that now, but if you have not seen The Abyss, that is a magical movie. It's one of those timeless movies that it doesn't matter how old it gets. I think that's a really cool kind of look at aliens and thriller kind of scary movie. I know people that won't watch anything that's older. They only they go, "Oh, it's too old because it looks, bad quality or something." And I'm like, you got to see all of the classics, back to I Love Lucy and Green Acres and all sorts of fun stuff. But yeah, UFOs in the sea. It's not a new theory, and actually, I think that's more of like a, this guy thinks this. What do you think? Do you think aliens come from the sea? Do you think they could come from the sea? I think it could be a possibility. Liz Gaspari, thank you again for your support. Says, Foogle fam, let's put together a private barter system for group members only. I've done this before and it worked very well. We actually had kind of a thing like that. What my dream was is to have Foogle fam members supporting Foogle fam members before some big conglomerate. So if Jeff, one of my audience members, owns a tire shop in Austin, Texas. If you're in Austin, Texas, you go to Jeff, maybe pay $10 more for your tires, but you support Jeff instead of Costco. Yeah, you can save $20 with Costco, but you're basically enabling us getting controlled. Like, I don't get that people understand that, say that company that is doing all of these robots that replace 200 jobs with robots, don't buy from them. Guess what? They'll scrap those robots and they'll hire people again. This is what people need to start doing. They need to start finding out, oh, okay, this company hires out of country for their work so they can save an extra $5. Let's not use that company. Just like any of these social media networks, if everybody stopped, so say if Facebook, right, if they were doing something that we didn't like, everybody stopped using it overnight. Boom, right away, they would change their ways in a second. But people don't, because they're not organized. And to get organized, you can't, because it's kind of a loop. If somebody starts getting people organized, boom, they're gone. MG Toe forever. I'll always watch, dude. You, Dex, and the mods and the Foogle fam are awesome. Every once in a while, I have to watch the replays at work. UC Clearly. I love that name. UC Clearly. Thank you for subscribing. Karen Cutsley. Thank you so much for subscribing as well. So Farm says, thank you guys for all the news and warnings. Something for food self-sufficiency that's easy to grow, that everyone can do, is microgreens. P.S. My daughter, Trinity, says you have kind eyes. God bless you. Well, thank you, Trinity. Again, one of our mods is named Trinity. Thank you so much for being here. And Rusty Hall, thank you so much for your support. Beth Roning, Paul, super, super awesome. Thank you so much for everybody that supports the show. We are, again, we're independent. We do not have a multi-channel network, so thank you, thank you, and thank you. Speaking of which, if you can, real quick, again, we do a 2-hour show with about 5 minutes of advertising for ourselves. If you can, make sure if you're going to get a VPN, get it through us. NordVPN is one of the highest ranking and highest rated and easiest to use in the world. A VPN is a virtual private network that helps protect you from cyber threats. It also hides your internet address. Your IP address directly links to your real address. What you can do with a VPN is actually put yourself in a different country. Not Russia, though. They stopped that. But you can actually you can access regionally locked content. Say you put yourself in France, you can therefore watch Netflix movies that are only shown in France or in Brazil or anywhere, for example. Again, marfooglenews.com/VPN. A small commission of it goes to us. You get a giant discount, so it's a win-win. You pay less than what you would if you just went and got it, and you help us with a commission so we can keep running our stuff. Thank you. Make sure to use the special code Marfoogle, and again, that is actually one account for up to 6 devices. You can use your phones. People don't realize that. Phones should be protected. Tablets, your kids' tablets, if they're on the internet. You never know what they're on. All right, and then perfectly spherical UFOs with mechanical lighting spotted hurtling past the ISS. By the way, right when I read this, it reminded me, Ilea, who, that's how actually what started our Instagram message back and forth says, is this real? And sent me a video that actually does look pretty real. It's from Instagram, and it shows a UFO kind of sparking on and light kind of showing, and everybody's screaming, and it sounds like car alarms are going off. It was, to me, I could see the markings of like Adobe After Effects or something, because the reflection on things didn't, there wasn't reflections where there should be, and there was reflections that were added in. But as far as it, a lot of people are talking about these kind of mechanical structures in the sky. This is creepy because just a few months ago, the ISS, member, one of the astronauts, actually took pictures of these 5 lights over the Earth, and it was pretty crazy. It says a UFO hunter has filmed several mysterious orbs flying past the ISS while observing the live feed. Graham, who has spent years watching and analyzing ISS footage, shared the interesting find on Tuesday on his YouTube channel, Conspiracy Depot. Wow, he's definitely filtered. The clip shows a bright circular object moving in the opposite direction to the ISS and hurtling past at high speed. Within a short period of time, a few more similar but smaller UFOs pop up on the high-definition camera, as the station moves over Chile. The conspiracy theorist said it looked to be perfectly spherical, similar to what other UAPs have been documented and seen throughout the skies of Earth. So it looks like we have a picture of this. Wait, actually we don't. Hold on.
Further down.
Okay. Thought that was the other thing.
Yeah, that first one's just a stock photo. It has a space shuttle on it. Talk about old.
Wait a second. So I'm not really seeing it. It's this red dot or the white dot?
Well, the fam can go to the article and see the actual video clip that he's edited. But yeah, it's these two dots that are coming through, and the mechanical lighting. What he's claiming is that there is lighting on it that changes, changes in a pattern, which would then infer that it's mechanical, sort of like lighting on an airplane, right?
Well, yeah, and it's not like lighting, because everybody keeps saying that they're seeing lights, but they're not the technical red, green, left, right type of thing. So seeing yellow, blue, purple lights and things like this, and in a spiral. So I don't know. There's lots of things that are popping out. I can't wait for this report. I don't know if it's going to just... Also, I don't know if they're doing this because they're trying to distract people from the other stuff that's going on right now, which brings me to one of my last points after this. We're gonna actually bring Kishara on. We've got some stuff that is really popping off in our... I'll show you the section here in a second. First off, though, Italian artist Salvatore Garra has just sold an invisible sculpture for $18,000. This is how crazy our freaking world is. Dex, if you want to get the caller in, but do you have an opinion about this $18,000 invisible?
I saw it. I don't know what you're talking about. It's worth every penny.
Hold on. Hold on. Okay, don't tell anybody I bought this. I think it's beautiful.
I know you paid with it with an invisible check, right?
Nope. $18,000. You are an idiot. This is just the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Italian artist Salvatore Garra has just sold an invisible sculpture for $18,000. Oh my gosh. Didn't think the camera would switch over that. Let's get Kishara on. Kishara, rabbit hole, theoretical origin of the destruction cycle. Calling from Colorado. Kishara, you are live on Marfoogle News.
Hi.
What? Just the description of your call has me intrigued. What's going on, Kishara, and what are we talking about here?
Well, with everything going on, it really got me to thinking about this 12,000-year destruction cycle this planet goes through. And I'm going to put this as...
Like Ice Age
in
Farmer?
many layman terms I can. Sorry, say that again?
Like what Ice Age Farmer and Suspicious Observers talk about? Is that kind of the same thing?
Yes.
Okay, keep going.
Yes. Because it occurred to me that Earth doesn't randomly decide just kill everything. Yeah, it doesn't do that. So there's got to be a reason. And with what we're seeing with all of these black holes and micronovas and massive novas, supernovas, the whole thing, if you look into physics and astrophysics, you get into the center of the universe. Imagine it's like a large biological creature. Every 12,000 years, it has a heartbeat. Big creature, you know. So that heartbeat that pulse that happens at the center of the universe releases a massive energy wave. That energy wave, stars automatically, to protect themselves from an overload, will release a micronova so that they don't just explode into a black hole. This pattern has happened over the past 2 years. We've seen a huge increase in black holes, in micronovas, with them talking about other planets to go to, especially bigger ones. All of this is consistent with this energy wave, including plasma storms that have recently been talked about coming in, this solar activity we're seeing with 12 solar flares. Oh, and then there's 10 today. Aren't we supposed to be in solar minimum? Yeah, so
Good
it
question.
got me to this whole thing. And I followed Velikovsky's theory, who did the electric universe. According to his theory and the evidence, our sun, Saturn, had a micronova, went back to planetary form 12,000 years ago. So if that was our sun, where did this sun come from?
Good point.
Now, if you go to Hopi stories and South American stories, they talk about a time when we had two suns in the sky, one that was dark and one that was bright. And the dark sun lost, and the bright sun became the new sun. That would mean our sun has only been here 12,000 years as we enter a micronova cycle. What if stars don't last millions of years in this galaxy? What if they only last 12,000 years?
Now, I get a lot of emails, especially Suspicious Observer believes that most of our disasters haven't been, related to other things. They've actually been related to kind of sun cycles, weather cycles, and all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of people that have sent warnings saying that we are in this kind of time. I don't know, I'm not I'm a 100% believer that I know something massive is coming. I don't know if this is the way it's happening, but I do believe in myself that I know enough people up high are worried about it, then we should be worried about it. Why are they going to other planets?
This wouldn't make sense. Why? Because if you look in our history, we've talked about, our ancestors have talked about this in every country, in every religion. Everyone talks about this. They tell you to pay attention to the sky. They tell you to pay attention to the planet. They tell you it's going to happen. Do we need all of our history to, keep yelling at us, going, hey, maybe you should get ready? It's going to go down. I mean, even if you look at the Younger Dryas event, that was 2 back-to-back ice ages. If you go to 9,600 BC, there was a huge event that happened in which we lost land. New Zealand, most commonly known, back when it used to be Zealandia, was a continent. Now New Zealand's an island.
Well, that's pretty freaky. What about how Russia is making a new canal completely and cutting the ice? Do you think that they're doing that because quite possibly they are trying to predict not having one of the other canals, or opening that up because... And why are all of the elites building and buying these super billion-dollar super subs? We're talking about a secret thing that regular people don't even see. Actual submarines. Why are they all buying submarines that can stay out to shore? There indefinitely is like 10 years supply of stuff can stay out in the water and not be harmed by anything. Are we going to have like another, biblical Noah type flood? Are the, coastlines going to change?
Yes. Potentially what you're looking at is a full crustal displacement, just like everyone's been talking about with the earthquakes and the volcanoes. We have the largest amount of volcanoes going off in history, in our recorded history, let's say. We have mass earthquake upticks. The plate is moving. This is what happens when the planet decides to shift. The secular theory. So there's no way around it. Yes, the maps are going to change completely. Russia's canal is probably one of those rational bets. Look, Russia's in a pretty good spot. This stuff goes down, start looking at land masses that sit in center of plates. Russia is in an excellent position to survive this and become the new global power if they can pull up their infrastructure, because they're going to lose all their technology too. That's what has always happened. We lose our technology. One of the things I want to add into this is that scientists in Antarctica doing 2-3 year stints had severe damage to their hypothalamus due to ice age conditions. Your hypothalamus, which there's shrank, controls your cognitive ability and your memories. As we've gone through this before, and our entire species has a severe amount of amnesia, this amnesia would be explained by this disaster cycle.
What a scary thought.
Now, one of the reasons the people with the elongated skulls were able to repopulate in different locations is because their bone density is thicker than ours. They would have been less affected than we will be. So people, please get your tin hats on. Now,
with
everything going on, historically, we've always survived this underground. That's why they're announcing these big, massive caverns they're discovering, these big underground oceans. Suddenly they're saying, there's structures down there. We call that a Gartha, people. They're starting to announce a Gartha to you guys. And water in the planet means it's a geode.
The Boring Company, Elon Musk. SpaceX to get off Earth, and the Boring Company to bore tunnels under Earth. Starlink
because we need
to
it
defend against asteroids. That's why I say is he secretly trying to save the planet? Every one of his companies is
I think he's doing
contracted.
the best he can with circumstances. This is a lose-lose situation. Even in the past, when you look at cuneiform tablets, they couldn't save everyone. This is the same situation that the elites you talk about are facing. You can't save everyone. Who do you save?
About 1 million people. That's about it. If anybody on the planet was gone, that's how many people they say that SpaceX supposedly will get off the planet.
Plus arcs.
It is pretty...
And seed banks.
Yeah, and they're sending... It's really... Okay, so some people may be going, oh no, this is nuts. Look at what's actually happening. They're sending Noah's Arks of seeds to the moon. They're putting Noah's Arks of seeds and samples into the deep, deep, deep underground of Norway.
Mm-hmm.
It's really...
Sweden's Navy underground.
Oh, and then they have just put us all, the entire globe. Somehow they got the entire globe to agree on some, general rules on this whole thing that we put masks over. Even though they have different governments, everything is different, but yet they all agreed to do this whole global thing, right? Over what now we know, the whole 99.6 thing. And then, 0 cases of the other thing that usually happened every year.
Mm-hmm.
This is like
mass increase of ash in the atmosphere.
That is really crazy to think of. Well,
unfortunately, some of this stuff that looks like they're trying to control everyone is kind of training you for a whole new life.
What a thought. And synthetic meat and getting people used to the idea of not having space. Oh my gosh, the World Economic Forum says
Ice Age.
No, but they also said, in the future, you will have nothing and you will be happy.
Right.
That is so flippin' scary. Right. Why would they say that?
You will be happy to be alive. This is going to be hard.
Ding, ding, ding.
But everyone who's here living has a chance to make it. You make it through this, and there is not a single religious text or prophecy that does not talk about a coming golden age. This is bad, but it gets better.
Wow. Incredible. Kishara, thank you so much for calling in tonight. Again, I bet you that after tonight, people are going to say, hey, you need to start a channel. Do you have a channel, Kishara?
No. That's not my thing. I'm working on setting up a Earthship-based community in Colorado. No money involved, barter system only for preppers, because we got to get through this. We only get through it together.
Kishara, thank you so much for your call. I'm praying that everything that you do is done well and that you have success in everything you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Again, thank you for calling Kishara, everyone. You can go to our website, marfooglenews.com, and access this call. You'll also be able to reference that call, Kishara, by searching using search bar. On future episodes, you can always go back, and when you go to our website, you can reference any show and share it with somebody else. We might clip that call and put it out on our other channel news, which, again, if you're new here, I see a bunch of new people. Grover Kingsley just subscribed. Susan Zebley, Dorothy Wright. Thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the Foogle fam. We're a group of openly minded, trying to think as much as we can about what is going on and what is going to happen in the future. Make sure to go over there and subscribe to Marfoogle News as well. All of our growth is through word of mouth. Think about that. Almost over 300,000 people between the two channels, and it's all through word of mouth, not through free handouts. Will Parker, thank you for subscribing. Thank you. I appreciate that. Dex, we have some content that is too hot for TV. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes, Adam. Yeah, we've got all the things that we can't talk about here on the show that's too hot for the network. It's on marfooglenews.com. So you're missing out if you're not going there. Go after the show. Go look for the thumbnail. Click on it. Scroll down to the bottom. You'll see updates from what's going on in the continuous saga of Arizona and other locations, and a lot of other interesting tidbits that may be going on there too.
And everything is going to be available here. All of the caller info is actually going to be updated in just a few minutes here. In fact, if I refresh this, the first two callers should already be there. Kishara should be added here shortly. Yeah, isn't that cool? And make sure to go say hi to Gene. Remember Ilea's call? Make sure to go say hi to him, and at least do this for me. Go and look at his values and what he's about. If Ilea is recommending it, then I can almost guarantee that this is a good man. But again, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. It is about 9:45 p.m. Pacific time. If you're new here, I'm about to do the shoutro. It's where I do my silly music, but it's also a credits of some sort. It's all of your names I make into a stupid song. It's the credits to the people that really make this show happen. You guys, everybody that is here. Make sure to thank your mods. Let me get an M in the chat for mods. And make sure to thank whoever was modding down there, because that is a hard job. They've got to deal with trolls coming in with 10 different accounts. It's not fun. So thank them, and make sure to thank Dex, my internet brother. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful night.
Much love. Great show.
Now it's time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro.
to get some rest now. Stand up and get your rights back. No one else but you's gonna do that. Stand up and get your rights back. No one else but you's gonna do that. Every single day that we go back down. Flip it going back now, everybody round. Gonna get back now, everybody down. Christine, Mally in the Dirty Right Sound. Susan, Zebby in the Grove of Kingsley. Oh, everybody really wanna think, man. Stand up and get your rights back. No one else but you's gonna do that. Stand up and get your rights back. No one else but you's gonna do that. Stand up and get your rights back. No one else but you's gonna do that. Drier than the popcorn fight, ring above heart. Oh, now everybody wanna use their heart. Thanks for subscribing, Karen on the cut sleeve. Also, Soul Farm, everybody see. Stand up and get your rights back. No one else but you gonna do that. Gone girl, 777, thanks for the ninja game. Thank you for all the masses support. Bring it back up so they can bring it down. They ain't got to get some rest now. Bring it back up so they can bring it down. They ain't got to get some rest now. Everybody really wanna funky with the beat, frustrated and the beat frustrated. Gonna get frustrated with the serenity PA. Want on beat, Jenny, Texas, I'ma say. Well, 8 go hard in the island. By the CG, on that, I back with the penny lane. 87 in the mighty tour. Everybody gonna bring back that mighty core. Bring it back up so they can bring it down. They ain't got to get some rest now. Bring it back up so they can bring it down. They ain't got to get some rest now. On them tropical back and forth. Tropical, out everybody hold out. Everybody know now. Everybody gonna go back, get down. Stand up and get your rights back. No one else but you's gonna do that. Stand up and get your rights back. No one else but you's gonna do that. I tell ya, gonna get one, got to go bad. Everybody love it, love that. Stand up and get your rights back. No one else but you's gonna do that. Stand up and get your rights back. No one else but you's gonna do that. Everybody funky on the bike, don't bring it. I bring it down back in the loft, very lucky. Bring it back down into everybody slippery, slow bear.
Hey, thank you, Gone Girl 777. Gone Girl 777, you are #1 supporter on D-Live. Over on YouTube, it looks like we have a tie between Ana Trejos. Actually, no, Ana Trejos is #1 over on YouTube. MD Toe Forever, thank you. Rusty Hall, Sir Budrick, Liz Gaspari, Zach Bell, thank you for being new here. And of course, just me, Ian Coe, Lily Gaga, Anna Yago, Mr. Diego.
Stand up and get your rights back. No one else but you's gonna do that. Sorry about it, Jay. Everybody on the hussy. Oh, now we gotta go push it. Chef in the corner and the corner of your brain. Bring it back down into everybody brain. Bring it back up so they can bring it down. They ain't got to get some rest now. Bring it back up so they can bring it down. They ain't got to get some rest now. Bring it back up so they can bring it down. They ain't got to get some rest now. Bring it back up so they can bring it down. They ain't got to get some rest now. Ganga 777, oh, not lover. Gonga 777, oh, not lover. Gonga 777, oh, not lover. Gonga 777, oh, not lover. Ganga 777, oh, not lover. Gonga 777, oh, not lover. Gonga 777, oh, not lover. Gonga 777, oh, not lover. Ganga 777, oh, not lover. Gonga 777, oh, not lover. Conga lead no big dogs and do a dig his ball girl 45 number 1 chance brother down and everybody got love for that gun girl, bring it right back now. Conga 777, oh, not lover. 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 Oh yeah. Zippy moon, zipper moon, zipper moons. Zipper moon, zipper moons.